Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Mark Timberlake and I'm back with a brand new video. And today, guys, if you watched my last video, then you know what this one's about. Because I told you I was going to be bringing it to you at the end of my last video. We got a matchup this week. Ohio State's first in-conference game going to Washington to take on the Washington Huskies. Sure, you probably knew that by now. Bringing you coverage on that game. I'm going to be breaking it down. So, the line on this game, I believe, last I checked, it was 8.5. Which is honestly really low for when a number 1 seed is playing an unranked opponent. I mean, against Michigan, when Ohio State was number 2 and Michigan was unranked. Mine was 20.5. Given Michigan won the game, and even if Ohio State had won, they would not have covered the spread. So, that's how you want to look at it. Fine. That's how you can look at it. So, given that line didn't really work out. Maybe a bad example. But the point is, the number 1 seed in the country, playing an unranked team, I get it, going to Washington, and the time zone being different, that's mentally, that'll mess you up. But 8.5, typically, that's really low, typically. I mean, a single digit, that's only, in the last 20 years, there's only been 2 instances, not next to this one, where a top seed has been playing an unranked team, and the line has been single digits. So, you might say 8.5 is low. I personally am not sure, because breaking down this game, here's how I look at it. You got an Ohio State team that has a new starting quarterback and a tendency to sleepwalk through games they think are going to be easy. You got an unranked Washington team who has the time zone figured out, is looking to defend their home stadium, and while 3-0, haven't seen them play a good team yet, but is undefeated. So here's how you got to look at that. Have they played a really good team yet? I don't know. But are they undefeated? Yes. So do we know how they're going to fare when they're tested against a good team? No, not yet. Because even though they haven't played a good team, they're 3-0. But look at that Washington State score. I mean, if you win 59, if you put up 59 points, it doesn't matter who you're playing. There's something to be said there. So, while Washington hasn't necessarily been tested against a great team, they are undefeated. So, the big question about Washington is, yes, they're great. They're looking really good against those bad teams. How they look against a good team, we don't know yet. We haven't seen them play, which is probably one of the reasons that they're actually unranked, is because they haven't beaten anybody who's supposedly really good yet, or supposedly decent yet. They haven't played anybody like that yet. So that's the reason they're probably not ranked. So the real test for Washington is going to be Ohio State. Ohio State beat Texas earlier in the season. Given Arch Manning didn't play very good. The whole Texas team didn't play very good just to begin with. So this is how I'm going to break this game down. There's a couple keys for both teams. Keys for Ohio State. Tune out the noise. You're in Washington. That stadium, whether you like it or not, is incredibly loud. Tune out the noise. But the number 1 most important key for Ohio State, if you're Ohio State, do not sleepwalk. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're an Ohio State fan or an Ohio State player on the team, don't sleepwalk. You did it against Nebraska. Almost cost you the game, but since you didn't lose, it didn't wake you up. You did it against Penn State. Almost cost you the game. But since you did not lose, it did not wake you up. You did it against Michigan. You lost. It woke you up. And that's the only reason you won the national championship. I'm not trying to degrade Ohio State or say they got one major flaw, but you can't sleepwalk. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you're an Ohio State player or the team, I cannot emphasize enough to the team. Do not sleepwalk. That gets you beat. It gets you in bad positions. And eventually, you're not going to be able to climb out of it. Like with Michigan, you weren't able to. So just don't take any chances. Be awake, be alert, be giving 100% the whole way. That's what you got to do if you're Ohio State. Do not sleepwalk is the main key. If you're Washington, use that home field to your advantage. Watch the game film for Ohio State. Look at what they like to do. Another thing for Ohio State, if you're Washington playing Ohio State, pressure Julian Sayin. Ohio U was bringing some pressure. They hung with Ohio State till about the fourth quarter. If you are Washington, you need to pressure Julian Sayin, and you need to figure out a way to lock down Jeremiah Smith. You need to lock down Jeremiah Smith. Because if you don't, Jeremiah Smith has been Julian Sayin's security blanket all season. Whenever he couldn't find someone open, either Jeremiah Smith or Carnell Tate has been his security blanket. One of those two have been open. So if you're Washington, you got to figure out a way to lock them down. If it means bringing up an extra safety and just playing one safety deep and double teaming those guys, or if it means maybe shifting a linebacker out, maybe have a spy lurking, maybe bringing an extra DB back, maybe bringing an extra DB up so you can double team those guys, that might be what it takes. But you need to cover those guys because they have been security blankets for that quarterback. So if you're Ohio State, keys, don't sleepwalk, tune out the noise, and don't let it get in your head. If you're Washington, pressure the quarterback and figure out how to shut down Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, Ohio State's two biggest weapons. Figure out how to do that. This game could go a lot of ways. And even though I said Ohio State can't sleepwalk, they're probably not watching this video. They're probably not going to listen to me. I think Ohio State does sleepwalk, but I think they get it done with a final score of, let's say, 31-24 Ohio State. I say Ohio State gets done 31-24. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. Subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. We got a couple big matchups coming up in college football soon, like Michigan, USC. Hopefully, I'll be bringing some coverage and breaking down that one. Ohio State going to Champaign in a couple weeks. Hopefully, I'll be breaking down and covering that one. But yeah, we got some big games coming up that I'm hoping to be covering for you guys. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. Click that subscribe button down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. One more time I'm going to say it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Till next time. Rock on.